You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris, Craig, Scott, Brad and Mark. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Hello, fellow Fox fans. Oh, damn good evening to you. Welcome along. How are we feeling? Oh, let's quickly move on. Let's forget that because coming up we've got... Yeah, it's just an easy game. Another easy game against the bottom of the table team, isn't it? We'll see.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Yes, we shouldn't count our chickens, should we? So, another bottom of the table clash. But hey, I want to prove to my ex-wife that I actually can be in two places at once. I have to say, though, I can be in two places at once, but neither of those were ever with her. I say that in the knowledge that she's in another house somewhere else, so I'm not stupid. But yeah, you can catch me in two places. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching courtesy of YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, you're welcome along. Please comment. You'll automatically be signed into StreamYard. I'll see your names and it would be great. I say give us a follow, that would be absolutely fantastic. And on Facebook group, obviously Leicester Till I Die, please click on the StreamYard link because that way, like I say, it just doesn't show you as Facebook user and I can see who we're talking to and give you a call out, and it's always nice to be able to give you a call out. So we're going to be there twice, and if you're watching this on catch up at all, yep, sure, catch up, as I say, on YouTube, like I said, Leicester Till I Die TV. Or if you want to sort of listen to us rather than watch us, and I don't blame you at all for that, your favorite podcast app, including Spotify and Apple iTunes, you can catch us on there. So basically, we're everywhere. So I mentioned before, yep, our next game is away to Sheffield United this Sunday, and here to discuss this with me and look forward to the game is my chat chum Craig. So let's bring Craig in and say a very good evening, Craig.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Life in Tier 3.
Can I just say,
anybody who's watching outside of Tier 3, like I have a friend over in just over the border in Sibbertoft, and not at all smug, but I'm sure you're very much the same, Chris.
No, I'm going to be very smug because I'm down in Dorset, which is Tier 2. So no.
Yeah, enjoy.
The joy of, I think I can meet maybe 5 people instead of 4. I can't keep up with it, to be honest with you. I've no idea sort of what it all means. Facebook user, hi, please, if you're going to do that, say hi, but stick your name at the end so at least we know if it's Mrs. Twigger or Mrs. Ahern or whoever it is. But Facebook user, hello and hi. And don't forget, we want your views, not just me and Craig. We can talk till the cows come home, can't we, Craig?
Oh, we can.
Yes, as indeed we were, which was why we were a couple of minutes late when we started tonight, because I found out we'd gone to the same high school, didn't we, in Leicester? What was the City of Leicester Boys School?
We did indeed. We did just a few years apart. Obviously, also the home of Emil Heskey and Chris's good friend Gary Lineker, who he shared a few classes with. But
I was in the same year and in the same physics math class, and I will always. It hasn't scarred me for life, and I am getting over it. And I do talk about it occasionally because my therapist say it's good for me. But I was bullied by Gary Lineker. That is my claim to fame. Gary Lineker bullied me. But there we go. But yeah, we were looking back at talking about some of the teachers that we'd had. A couple of years difference. I like to think I'm the oldest and more mature. But yes,
I'm not going to argue, Chris.
Well, that's a first. Something I've won before we even start. But before we do start talking about it, I just want to say that if you remember, a few weeks ago we had Barry Pierpoint on, and he's brought out a book, Minding My Own Football Business, which is available on Amazon. And if you Google mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com, you can order that. He was Leicester's first chief executive, joined the 90s, bit of a Marmite figure, love him or hate him. With the O'Neill affair. But he was a lovely guy, wasn't he? He came on, he answered all the questions, he didn't shy away from anything. And very kindly, I don't know if that shows there, but he signed the book for me. And he's donated one for this evening. So I have to say, I picked the winner out from... I did say you had to be subscribed to YouTube to be in with a chance of winning, and I pulled out a name just before we came live on air, and it was Simon Marsden. So I don't know if he is going to be watching. I'm guessing he's in the group, so I'll post it in the group later. Just put that up there in case he joins us. But well done, Simon. I'll be in touch, and we'll get Barry to sort of have a chat with you and get that off for you. So, and thank you to Barry if he's watching for supplying that to me as well. But we want your views on the players, what might happen on Saturday. On Saturday, it's Sunday, isn't it, Craig? And
it is, obviously we're still in Europe, so we are the perennial Sunday afternoon favourites.
2:15. If you've got Sky Sports, it's on the Premier League and main event. Should we be worried? I mean, a bottom. They haven't won all season, I don't think, which is sort of prime for them to come on and beat us.
Well, we've got a little bit of form, haven't we? Of not performing, but to be fair, we've managed to not perform against the top and the bottom of the table. So who knows what we'll do this time?
Maybe we managed to get to four.
It's for those who those followers of Leicester City who are fairly recent, let's say league winners onwards, or those maybe a little bit before. In a microcosm, this 10 games is what we used to have forever, over a whole season, over a period of seasons. The ups and downs, now we're getting them in a few games. So for those of you who are sort of relatively new Leicester fans, relax. This is Leicester City. This is what we do, and it'll all turn out fine in the end.
We always just say that it was the Leicester City roller coaster.
It is, and we just do it over a period of a few weeks now instead of seasons.
I mean, I can't believe that it was only a few weeks ago we were, and I know I was, and I'm as fickle as any other football fan, and that we'd got the most tactically brained manager in the division. I know that's not a sentence, but you know what I mean. And he was suddenly this master technician, or Brendan. And then suddenly, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the game, but it does change. A week's a long time in football, isn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, without, as you say, without going into it, because you did a great job with that with Brad and Julian last night. We seem to be playing the same tactics against Liverpool and Arsenal, and then the same against Fulham and the lesser teams. And I think we've got to be a little bit more positive about our own abilities, surely. And the way we're sitting back deep at the minute, it means that when we get our good players on the ball, we're still 60, 70 yards away from goal. Just go, the old days when the ball used to go out of the box, you used to have your defenders, arms were out and everybody was push up, and we don't seem to do that anymore. We just sit back a bit too much, and it's not working at the minute.
We still have this, I know Brendan likes to play it out from the back, but it scares me. It really, we nearly got caught out, and I think it was Evans that passed it back, and it went past Michael, and it really does scare me. And we're 80 minutes, we're 2-0 down, and we were still pissing about with it excuse my French, at the back of the thing. We know we're not going forward, and surely when we're playing teams, and no disrespect to them, the Fulham couldn't believe it, and they deserved it. You can't say, they didn't deserve it. We played for the last 5 minutes when we got the goal. Yeah,
it was, we didn't get out of second gear, which is when you're winning a game. When you're chasing a game, you've got to put it all in. And, the Foxes never quit of old. It wasn't there. We seem to have quit quite early on. And as I say, I've said it a few weeks now, what worries me about this team is how much bottle we've got for the fight when we need to fight in a game. You need to establish your own credentials in a game and earn the right to actually play some football. When things are going against us, okay, we did it against Porto. We came back really well there, but we did it higher up the pitch, and we can't. We strolled around that game as if we'd already won it, and we can't afford to do that against anyone.
No, I think you mean Braga, but not Porto.
Yeah. That's why you're holding this thing together.
I'm Doctor. You're Doctor Who. Obviously, you jump around a little bit, but the Porto. That was. I don't want to remember the last Porto game. I remember sort of when we played Man City and when we played Arsenal, we weren't doing much. We were very much in our own half, and I was watching the game thinking like, we're going to sort of come out in a minute, but we just never did. And if we play like that against Sheffield United, we're going to get another spanking, aren't we?
Again, they're a high tempo team. They won't be giving us lots of space, and we've got to find a way of dealing with it. The comment there, the Fulham virtually played 7 at the back. They did when we allowed them to get back in position because we were so slow. If we transit, they had enough attempts on goal. They were in our half quite a lot. These days, if you play 2 sideways passes, teams get back into the shape, and then it's difficult. So we've got to be moving that ball a lot quicker. And the danger is, if we're too deep, as I say, we've got 60 or 70 yards to go. When we actually turn over the ball. Teams play against us like that. We've got to learn to deal with it.
We've got to learn to break them down. And Jamie Vardy didn't have a touch till the 25th minute, and that was a bit scary when you think, if we don't get the ball to Vardy, we're almost at the point now where we don't score. And please don't tell him that I'm about to say this, but Brad actually made a very good point in the post-match show. It's not live. This I'll cut it out. It out that you did eventually, but. This is a team which is third team almost in some positions. And at the start, they are players that, came good and what have you. But like Fuchs has played more games. He's played 9 games or so in 6 weeks. Where before, I don't think he played 9 games in 2 seasons. And they're all getting to the point maybe of... Morgan's older. There's a lot of older players there that maybe that's the problem.
Well, I think it is a fair point, and yeah, they're playing more football than they had. I think I would say the same, and it's sort of reflected in the team that I would go for against Sheffield United, which we'll come on to later. That some players are playing more football than they have in a short period of time, and I think it's starting to show. Mendy has been off the pace the last couple of games as well. You know, he didn't get near anybody against Liverpool. He didn't get anywhere near any of the Fulham players. You know, occasionally I have the odd bet on players getting booked, but you know those bets are going down the pan because we're not getting near to anybody to even risk getting a booking at the minute. We're just standing and watching.
I mean, hello to Nazir who made the point there. You know, we're too nice without Cags. I think Cags is a while off coming back, and we'll maybe come on to this later. Other players, well, following on. In fact, let's just follow on from what we've just said there. You know, a lot of the players are getting tired, I think, and are playing more games. And you know, we've not only got all these players out and got the Premier League to contend with, we have got the Europa League to contend with as well. Evans is one booking off a suspension, and I was every tackle he went in for, I'm thinking, please be careful, because we can't afford to lose him on top of all the other injuries we've got.
We can't. However, you know, I was very close to not dropping him as such, but looking at a formation that might suit us a little bit better, because for me he's lost his edge a little bit, and my worry is that he doesn't seem to talk as much as he should be. We've seemed to have lost that organisation. You know, we against Braga, I think it was great to have the microphones near Michael's goal, because you could hear how much he was shouting and doing all the organising. Yeah, there wasn't a lot going on. So you've got a young Fofana there who's been caught out in a couple of games now by going for challenges where he probably shouldn't have done it. He needs somebody next to him who can talk him through a game, and that's what Evans is supposed to be there to do. Now, you know, I'm not suggesting that Morgan would do a better job. Maybe he would, because he does seem to organise a little bit more. He does seem to get the lineup a little bit more. I'm not saying he is the answer, but we need to be nurturing Fofana through this difficult period, and Evans has to do that. So he's got to step up, because his last couple of performances haven't been great at all, in my opinion.
Well, maybe he'll move to Man United again, and if the route is true. Yeah. I mean, United, whatever we ask, just double it, and United will pay it. But we have got Sheffield United, I say, this weekend, and they are battlers. I mean, you know, they're from the Steel City, and they kind of, you know, live up to that. You know, their history. They were down in League One, you know, just 3 seasons ago, and they've come up and they've done sort of really well. But let's just have a look at how we've done against them. Very, very close, actually. We've played 97 times since we were both formed, which I thought would have been more, to be honest with you. We've won 33, drawn 33, lost 31. So quite close. It's quite close there. As teams, but I can't get my words out now. But having a look at last season, we beat them twice. No, they weren't easy games, were they?
No. I was at the first game at Bramall Lane. I think it may have been the first away game that season, and Harvey Barnes scored a screamer for the winner that game. But that was a tough game. I thought we handled the situation pretty well. I think, I'm sure one of our viewers will correct me if I'm wrong, but it may have been their first home game back when they got promoted. So the crowd were up for it. The crowd were fantastic, and I'm sure that's having a lot to do with their poor form this season, because they really do help that team along when they're at home. They make a great noise. It's a really good old-fashioned kind of stadium, I guess. But we did really well in that game to play our football and come out with the 3 points. So, and I'm expecting nothing easier again this weekend.
No, I mean, I was talking to Alan, a Sheffield United fan, and if you go on to the website Leicester Till I Die, or www.leicestertillidie.com, we have a written opposition view, and that's Alan and his brother. Graham, I think it is. He's going to do the video one on Friday night. So we've got Tale of Two Brothers. And I said to him, what did he expect, or what does he think of Sheffield United last season? And he said he was expecting what they've got this season. You know, I mean, they've bought a couple of players, but, you know, there's the table from the end of last season. You know, Sheffield United, they're... I can't even see what it says now. Is it the 9th they were? Yeah, 9th Sheffield United. And, you know, look where they are now. And I know it's early days, but, you know, if I was a Sheffield United fan, I would be thinking, WTF.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've... I mean, I thought in their last game, they created quite a few chances. I think, was it against West Brom? I know. But they created some chances, and they just got, you know, when you look at the caliber of their players, I'm not sure many of their players would be picked up by anybody else in the Premier League, to be honest. Maybe a couple of the defensive players, but they've got no big names. They work as a unit, you know, that's their strength. They work as a unit, and when that unit starts to break down a little bit, as it seems to be this season, they struggle. Having said that, you know, we do tend to struggle ourselves against teams that are not having the best of times. So, you know, they'll be looking at some point, you know, they're going to get a win. You know, they're going to get some points on the board. You know, unless they here's the opportunity to have another go at Derby. Unless they look like they're going to do a Derby and finish with 15 points or whatever it was, then. You know, they're going to be picking up some points sooner rather than later. And we really need to turn it around from our poor 2 performances. We can't afford another bad one.
Do you not think, I mean, you made the point there that, you know, that they're probably due a win or due a game. But Leicester, we seem to be the kicking boys for every team. If a player's not scored for 5 hours, they've only got to say that before the game against Leicester, and they score. And the worry is they're going to have a look, and they're going to have seen what Fulham did to us, and they're going to be up for it.
No, definitely. I mean, we last week when we were talking about the Fulham game, somebody came on and said, you know, they haven't scored a penalty. They've not had penalties. They've not scored one. You know, they're bound to score one against us, and there it is. You know, it happened. We seem to be the sort of team that teams going through a bad run like to play against. You know, they will be all up for it. You know it. I don't know. I assume that they are in tier 3. Because obviously, you know, if they're in tier 2, there's the opportunity that they may have some fans in there, which even if it was a couple of thousand, would make things different. Because obviously we're going to have to start taking that into consideration now that we're going to be going away playing teams with fans in the ground. So it's going to be slightly different for our players as well. You know, here in tier 3, we're not.
I just made a note there. I suppose there's nothing you can really do about it, but if a team comes to play Leicester, you've got no teams, and Sheffield doing the same. I think it's everybody sort of Leicester and going north, apart from Liverpool. You know, and then you know we go to say, let's say Southampton. And they're allowed to have fans, but you know, it is what it is. But I just want to bring a couple of points in that people have made here, and they kind of link into to the point here. Is I'll bring them both up, and I don't know who it is. Again, Facebook user, I've got no idea who you are, so I can't give you a shout out on this. But Madders is not fit, and he just keeps looking for free kicks all of the time. And then another stat, and I remember seeing this stat come up, that we've had 52 corners this season and we haven't scored from one of them. we are totally rubbish on. Manders has lost it. He's rubbish with corners. I think right at the last minute, we're finding it hard to get it past the first man. Free kicks. I mean, that free kick he took when we beat Southampton 9-0 that time. He was. I don't know, players go through bad form and what have you, but it's almost like, if I was the opposition team, I'd say let it go for a corner. It's only Leicester, and we used to be so good at them, in the O'Neill days, didn't we? And
well, you look at it, and I was looking at the team, and what worried me a little bit was our lack of height. Our lack of power in this team. So against a team like Sheffield United, when they're getting free kicks and corners around the box, I think it'll be holding our breath time, to be honest.
Yeah.
And from our own set pieces, it's just number one, if we can get the ball in the box, great. But there's no plan. There's no movement. You see other players, other teams working on things. Players are running around the back. People are being blocked off to create space for other people. We don't seem to be doing any of that. There was a period where we looked to be a little bit creative, but now it just seems, hoof the ball in the box and see if we can win it. And now we can't even get the ball in the box. So I don't know what they're doing, whether the lack of training time that we've had recently, because it's all traveling and playing, whether that is one of the things that has had to be put to one side, that they don't have the time to work on set pieces anymore. It's certainly looking that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just sort of worried, to be honest with you. The good news is, though, coming up for the Sheffield United game, is that we might have a couple of the what we would call first team, although they're all first teamers, obviously, but some of the sort of players that we've missed, the Pierres and the Castagnas, we might be seeing some of them coming back.
Well, hope so. Otherwise, the team that I've put out, it will look very, very silly. Because I've made some assumptions that we will have, but just going back to the Maddison point, it's interesting because the first team that I came up with for this Sheffield United game didn't have Maddison in it. I thought he'd been a lot more. It had a lot more impact when he was coming on, even as trying to prove something. It seems to me like his confidence has been knocked a little bit. He's seen Grealish overtake him from an England perspective. He was left out of the England squad. He didn't get called into the England squad when there was injuries. For me, you either roll your sleeves up, you get on the ball and you show that you need to be in that team, or you go and hide a little bit. And for me, unfortunately, at the minute, it seems like his confidence has taken a knot, and he's not so much hiding, but he's not imposing himself on the game like he needs to. He's he can be our talisman when he's on the ball and he's in the mood, but at the minute, he needs to rediscover that form.
I think at the end of the day, we're through to the round of 32 in the Europa League. We're sitting fourth in the in the league. It's not a bad season really overall. Maybe I know Liverpool didn't last year, but most teams have the troublesome times of the season. Man City were losing to us. I mean, Liverpool, I know, lost to Villa this season. And I'd sooner be where I am than where Arsenal are, for example, at the moment. It's not all doom and gloom, is it? We've lost a couple, but we've lost to Villa, yes, we lost to Fulham, but we beat Man City, we beat Arsenal. Would we have been any better off? And we've got to accept,
exactly. Exactly. If you'd have flipped it round and looked at the overall points total, looking at the team, the games that we've got, and you said, right, we won't get anything against Man City, we'll get nothing against Liverpool, which we didn't, but and then we'll pick up wins against Fulham, you'd end up with the same points, and all would be looking a bit rosier. I think this season, to me, if we're going to have a little blip, I'd rather have it now when we're in fourth and we're busy in the Europa League. If we can get through this tough period, this was always going to be the toughest period. We've got six European games, surrounded by league games, with all our injuries. I mean, if we take a step back, look at it in perspective, and think, as you say, we've already qualified out of that European group. We are still fourth in the league. We're starting to get our players back. Maybe if we just, things are maybe not as bad as we think we are. I think we've had 2 bad performances. If we'd have had 2 okay performances and we were a bit unlucky and we still didn't come out with any points, people would accept it a little bit more. I think it's the level of performance, but I think we also need to accept that tiredness is starting to kick in a little bit, and we are starting to miss our quality players. But as they come back, hopefully we can kick on and go again.
Yeah. That said, though, I mean, I remember somebody after we lost against Liverpool said, "Right, well, chin up, guys. We've got an easy run coming up now."
Yeah.
But sometimes these things come out and bite you on the proverbial arse,
This is the Premier League.
Andy Medhurst basically agreeing with you. It's frustrating we can beat Man City but lose to Fulham, but that's Leicester.
It is Leicester. It's Leicester, and it's the Premier League this season as well.
Well, definitely,
I think we've mentioned before. There are no easy games in the Premier League because they're easy if you play to your level. If you dip from your level, then the teams are too good to actually let you get away with it.
Yeah.
We are the Premier League has probably more money than any other league, which also means that the lesser teams, for the want of a better phrase, also have a lot of money. They can go around Europe picking off very, very good players. Year on year, the strength in depth of the Premier League improves. So if you're not at it, you're going to get found out a little bit. And we're finding that at the minute. We just need to dig in and get through it.
I think that has been seen by, the teams like, years ago, Burnley would have probably had to sell Tarkowski because they would need the money. West Brom, prime example, a couple of seasons ago, they didn't have to sell Johnny Evans for 30 million to Man City in the January transfer window. We got him obviously a lot cheaper. But time now for you to put to take your slippers off and put Brendan's shoes on and have a look. I mean, with things as they are at the moment, and looking at how we've played and looking at what's available to us, your formation and lineup for the upcoming game.
I think it's time that we started to be a little bit more positive, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a couple of players back. So I've gone with a 4-2-3-1 this time.
Okay.
I've ditched the 5 at the back. We've gone to a 4-2-3-1. So I'm going to keep Casper in goal just because he's great entertainment value with the microphones around his goal. So the middle 2 we'll go with Fofana and Evans. When I looked at this before and I was having a back 5, I was putting Morgan back in, to be honest, because I think we just needed someone who could actually push our team up the pitch a little bit more and be a bit more vocal. But in the end, I've gone for the 4. So Fofana and Evans, I'm hoping Ricardo's going to be back, and also Castagna. So Ricardo right back and Castagna left back. Difficult for James Justin to be left out because I think he's been one of our better players. He's been played in so many positions and he never gives anything less than 100%. I think he's a real star, and he's normally really, really positive when he gets the ball and drives forward. So, but I think again for him, it may be good to just give him a little bit of a rest as well.
Exactly what I was going to say then. I mean, I'm very much against dropping a player who's in form just because a named player is coming back. But I think you've got to, because I think those players, although they've been playing reasonably well for us, we can see, they're running through mud at the moment. So, yeah, I agree with you on that totally. Okay, so that's the back 4.
So the back 4, so the 2 in front of that, I've given Mendy a rest as well. Again, the last couple of games, I think he's been great for us, filling in for Ndidi. But for me, the last couple of games, he's looked like someone who hasn't played a lot of football over the past few seasons. So all of these games in a short period of time, for me, are starting to show on him. So I've gone with Pratt and Tielemans there as a 2. I think Pratt's got a bit of steel about him. He hasn't played that great in the last couple of games, but I think if he's given a little bit more responsibility and a role to do, and Tielemans seems to be dropping a little bit deeper anyway. So I've gone for Pratt and Tielemans sitting in there as a 2, and then the 3 in front. So I've gone a bit more attacking this time. So Maddison will play in front of those 2 with Barnes and Under, and then Vardy up front.
Yeah. So you'd give Under his start at last?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the problem for me seemed like against Fulham that we had that middle 3 sitting behind Vardy of Pratt, Tielemans, and Maddison. Now, none of those to me have got any pace. So that gap, because we sit deep, that gap between the midfield and Vardy is just too big. We got no threat. They could really easily put 2 players on Vardy, 1 drop off to cover the run, and we had nothing. We had no other options because we were too slow, too deep, too slow getting up. The fullbacks didn't get up the pitch, or if they did, they were getting caught out. Young Luke Thomas was playing up as a left winger at some points, and they were just chipping the ball down the right hand side. So for me, as I say, if you've got Pratt and Tielemans who can control the game in front of the back 4, and then you've got a real creative threat in Under, Maddison and Barnes behind Vardy, I think it's a game we've got to be on the front foot. We've got to cause and pose a threat to Sheffield United. If we sit back and let them come on to us, they're aggressive. We're going to struggle to get out.
Do you think as well? I mean, when we brought Inacho on, and again, I mean, so many of our players at the moment have done well and are not. It's not like 1 or 2 are doing bad. They're all kind of struggling at the moment. But surely, if you bring in something like Inacho on, have you not got to bring on Allbright as well to get the ball in for him? Because he isn't, a Vardy.
For me, if you're bringing Allbright on, or you're playing Allbright, and then you play Slimani, I don't. Yeah, Inacho for me isn't a great header of the ball. He's different to Vardy. He's a link. For me, he's more of a link-up play. You get the ball into his feet. He's very good with his back to goal. He likes little 1-2s. He can turn. For me, he's not someone who's going to go and attack a ball. So Allbright for me, again, is there as a backup. He's there if you're going to use him to the best of his ability, which is get the ball out to him and get him to whip across him. But at the minute, we don't have enough bodies in the box to make that, a viable option.
Well, I've got to bring this up for you, and we won't comment on it. We'll quickly move past it. But I would rest Madders and play Perez. Yeah, well, yeah. Then again, I don't know.
I think maybe in the formation I've chosen, I think you could do that. You could easily rest Madders, and you could easily play Iheanacho in that hole as well, because his link-up play is very good. If you've got one who comes short, one who goes in behind, then it causes a problem for teams, because they don't know whether to drop in one of the centre halves to drop into the gap to pick up in Iheanacho or whoever's playing in that little 10, or drop off with Vardy, and it causes a different sort of problem. So, yeah, I wouldn't argue against resting Madders, but again, Perez maybe, but Iheanacho could easily work in that little hole.
I don't think that's Brad that suggested that by any stretch of the imagination. But let's move on. Before we go and have a look at sort of a classic match, as we always do on these, and I'm sure there's sort of you've thought about this. Let's have a look at the old foot in both camps and have a look at a couple of players that are sort of donned the blue of the Foxes and the red and white of Sheffield United. Oh, good old Dave Batty, the red hair of the Football League.
In today's modern football, those players combined must command a fee of at least £500,000.
I don't know. I'd have Brian Dean playing now. I tell you what, he could find the net, But I know probably a lot of the other ones. A lot of our younger viewers might not know them. But Keith Gillespie used to like fighting with his own play. Oh no, no, it wasn't. That was Dave Batty. I should do it. But let's move on. And as we always do at this time. Craig, being the mature fan that he is, and goes back a little time, we're going to bring up a classic match between Sheffield United and Leicester City.
And there was a foot in both camps player actually playing in this game who was not on your list there, Chris. So it was interesting to see a couple of players who did actually play in this game. So I'm going to take you back to 1990. May the 5th. My time. Yeah, you were probably just still at school, weren't you? At that point. Yeah. So 1990, May the 5th, getting towards the end of a long season. We were comfortably mid-table. Sheffield United, however, were going into the last game of the season, which this was last game of the normal season. There were playoffs at that time. Last game of the normal season. Sheffield United were second at the time. Leeds had won the league. Sheffield United was second and 2 points ahead of Newcastle going into the last game. So Sheffield United needed to better whatever Newcastle did, and they came to Filbert Street, as it was at the time. And I remember this game. I was there in this game, and I remember it because I'm sure half of the crowd was from Sheffield United. They seemed to be everywhere. There was lots of them. I spent most of the match standing with a group of them in Pen 4, to be honest, watching the game. But the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. I don't know whether you do remember at the time, they had these luminous yellow away shirts that they wore.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, the crowd was full of them. They were either the red and white stripes or this luminous yellow. And they were so loud, so noisy, but really good-natured with it. There was no hint of any trouble. I think at the time we'd had a mediocre season, so we were just happy to be part of the game, part of a game that actually meant something at the end of the season. We didn't play particularly well, to be honest. They had something to play for, so they were up for it, and they ran out worthy winners and beat us 5-2. Tony Agana, I think they had the strike force of Brian Dean and Tony Agana. Dean scored 1, Tony Agana got 2. And it was just a fantastic game. And in that team for Sheffield United was one Colin Hill, who we signed in 92. We signed in 92, who was probably the Johnny Evans of his day, short in stature, but he was a good, tough old player, Colin Hill, and I think he was with us for quite a few years. But also in that team was Chris Wilder, the manager of Sheffield United. So he was playing in that team as well, and they were a good old-fashioned team. There wasn't many superstars in there. There was Brian Dean, as I say, was probably the most well-known. But a really good game, and I think at the end there's lots of photographs. They all stormed the pitch. It looked like a home game at the end of it. There were that many Sheffield United fans on the pitch. But 5-2, luminous yellow shirts, and a great end to the season, even though it didn't really mean anything to us. In the end, Newcastle got beat 4-1 away at Middlesbrough, and so they didn't need to win, but they did it in style anyway.
Right. Nice memories. Going to go a little bit further with the memories now, and I just realised, thank God I wrote it this way round, but I've got a post-it note here. It says Craig Kiss, and I'm glad I didn't write it the other way round that says Kiss Craig. But I like you, mate. But I like to let's move on quickly. And of course, it's a famous picture one that our Birch will never sort of live down. And I think he's happy to talk about it. Tony Curry, and as you can see in that graphic there, the original one of them when they were sat down and kissed, and the recreation there, and the famous quote that Alan said, "I didn't think anything of the kiss, but the shit hit the fan." And it was discussed in Parliament. I don't remember that, but my God, yeah, I suppose in them days, in these days that would just be a goal celebration, wouldn't it? But the fact that they're on opposing teams,
they probably would. I remember when Birchall talking about it afterwards. I think they'd had a bit of a clash in the middle of the pitch, and it looked like it could have got out of hand. And they just sort of sat there, looked at each other, and for whatever reason, they decided that rather than raise fists, they were going for a quick kiss and then run off and say no more about it. But it's an iconic photograph, in
I'm not sure. It is. I mean, I think it's probably up at the stadium somewhere. I'm not sure whether this is going to work or not, but let me just try and bring this in. I don't know if you can see what I'm going to do here, because I've never done this before. But there we go. Whoops. In fact, you can't really see what it says, but it's a lovely quote, and this is from The Athletic. Where you can read this. If you do subscribe to The Athletic, and I think they've got an offer at the moment, £1 a month for 12 months, so it's only £12 for the full year, and they do actually have some really, really good journalistic stories. It's not gutter press or tabloid. They do some really good stories, but it's got there. And this is Alan's wife, Heather. She goes, well, you've done it this time, muttered Heather Birchnell, as she flung a copy of one of the national Sunday newspapers towards her husband. Alan, who was enjoying a lie-in after featuring for Leicester in their 4-0 defeat at Sheffield United the day before. He was doing that. Birchnell was expecting the usual morning cup of tea, or Rosie Lee, as he would call it. Read the paper. And I mean, that's these days, it would be, it'd be, national news, and Sky would be showing it for sort of, for ages, wouldn't they? But it was fun those days. It was a bit of a laugh and a joke, and like you say, something that it'll always be remembered for.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, these days they'd probably both be sent off for an intentional movement of the head towards the other.
That is very, very true. Very, very true. We're going to have a look at score predictions in a minute. I just want to again mention to Simon Marsden, if you want to contact me, if you're watching this on Catch Up, if anybody is watching it that knows him, you've won the book, and Barry Pierpoint will sign that with a personal message for you. But yeah, score predictions. If anybody wants to give their score predictions, I've gone 2-1 for Leicester because I think we've got to win it. What are you going to go for, Craig?
Well, I know you'll probably give out the other guys and see what they've gone for, so it won't influence me by hearing theirs first. But I'm going to go put my positive head on and say 3-1 victory to us.
Right. In fact, it's a very good point because I haven't actually made a note of them, but I'm waiting on Steve Lynix to come back to me. Bless him. I think he might be working away, so he is always the last one to come back with his predictions. But Ian Marshall, and I love Ian Marshall. I love Marshy. He'll actually, if he thinks we're going to lose, he'll predict it. He doesn't give a shit. To be honest with you, he just says it as it is, and I'm not going to argue with the guy, But he's gone 1-1, and Steve Walsh, he's gone for 2-1 to Leicester, same as me. But I got mine in first, Well, but just to finally finish, as if we've not finished already. Thanks for that. We'll see. Let's hope we're all right, and let's hope that we can actually get the win this time. We need to get back into winning ways. I showed you this earlier, and lockdown boredom. I was having a sort out of my shirts, and when we won the league, and I wasn't doing this bit, but I was running the sort of the website and the Facebook. Somebody here who is this? Sorry, just very quickly. Oh, Andy Murphy, he's gone 2-1 Sheffield United. We wouldn't be surprised, I don't think, if it was, but keep the faith, Andy, keep the faith. But when we won the league that year, I had interviews with Australian radio. I was like talking to two DJs on speed. They were too happy by far.
Were they on speed or were you?
No, sorry?
Were they on speed or were you, Chris?
I wasn't. No, it was their breakfast show, but it was 7 o'clock at night for us here, and they were so. I felt like I was after they'd done their introduction because they were so G'd up and playing everything about, and Vardy's 11 and 11 that it got me excited. But basically, Leicester were all over the place, and I was getting so many freebies given to me. And excuse me because you probably will be able to see the moves here, but I got so many T-shirts that now don't fit me. So we've got the Schmeichel Street. You could have. I remember this one. You could actually order these. They were City of Champions, Schmeichel Street. You could have Vardy Boulevard. You could, you could choose what you wanted. But I'd got so many, and I'm just going to show. I'm not going to mold that one. Just about fits me. I think you can still see me moves on that, but these others are too small for me now. So let me just do it that way. I've got to do everything opposite way round. It's very confusing, this. So that's, of course, Chat Shit Get Banged, which is also my tattoo, by the way. We'll talk about that another time. I loved having this done. The last English team in the Champions League. And then that was just like a Champions League and Leicester City logo. Now this was another Chat Shit Get Banged. That was a little bit more, not as subtle. And for
anyone who's just joining us, welcome to Catwalk Chris.
This is Got Quad, how to look good naked. You have to watch that later. That's another channel I do that you've got to subscribe to. And I actually did love this one. It just made me laugh. Leicester Till I Die, Glory Hunter.
Perfect.
That was brilliant. But I tell you what, it was good memories. I've got the old Premier League trophy on the other side of the room as well. So good times. That did make me smile looking through those. I might actually give them away later on as prizes because, like I say, a couple of them literally, I say, I am bursting out all over in them. But sadly,
not something we want to think about, Chris.
No. I tell you something. I was trying them on before. I was having my Gok moment. I was trying them all on before I came on because I said I'm wearing the Schmeichel Street one. I think which one shows me moves off less, and then I had to position the camera.
Is that going to be included in the Tuesday night preview show Uncut?
Yes, the director's cut. Yes, yeah. You're quite right there, Craig. Nice one. But yeah, I had to position the camera so that it just didn't sort of show too much. But like I say, they're all of the programs, and that will be the director's cut version. But hey, Craig,
I don't know why Lineker bullied you.
Sorry,
I don't know why Lineker bullied you.
No, I'm waiting for. I'm just so sorry they don't do This Is Your Life anymore. I'd love to go on that, but I used to be quiet and shy and reserved. I'll have you know. But sadly, that is our time up. So thank you very much, Craig, as always. Great to chat with you. Everyone. And your messages and your matches, etc. And it doesn't give me any pleasure to say this, but I have to say it every week. I've been able to say it. I will see you next Tuesday.
You will indeed. Cheers, everyone. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Craig. Take care. So thanks very much to Craig for that. I do like saying see you next Tuesday, but. I'll be back before next Tuesday. In fact, you can get me tomorrow night, same time, 7:30, when I will be with Mark, and it will be for the European show. So you can catch that as we look forward to Zoya Luhansk away. I'm not sure where we're playing it. I don't think it's their stadium because I don't think it's a bit too close to the Russian border. But hey, we've got them away on Thursday. So 7:30 tomorrow, me and Mark with the European show. Be there or be square. Hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have done, please follow us on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Click the subscribe button and join us in. We're trying to sort of get the numbers up. That would be absolutely fantastic if you can. Of course, we're also available, and it will all come up in a minute, all the details. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. And of course, our website is www.leicestertillidie.com. And if you prefer not to see us, after I've just paraded all my shirts, you probably never want to see us, and you sooner listen. We're available as an Leicester Till I Die podcast, as Leicester Till I Die, in about half an hour on Spotify, Apple, Google, and other podcasts are available. Take care, guys. Remember what I always say, don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.